Thank you for joining us today on this special spooktacular Halloween edition of KSSU. I'm Josh Spreiter.
And I'm Leah Hester.
So Leah, are you a bunny or a kitty?
I'm a bunny.
You're a bunny. Well, who am I?
I'm gonna have to guess and say you're Joe Mauer.
Oh, dang it, you got it right. We do have some fun in the newscast today, but first we need to get to some headlines. Today, SMSU students are preparing for Advising Day.
Also, we'll go on search for Pumpkin Town, USA.
But first, the popular Marshall sporting goods store, Borch's, was broken into yesterday. The Marshall area is on edge after yet another burglary, this time Borch's Sporting Goods. Here's my story. Marshall police responded to an alarm call at 2:41 a.m. on Wednesday to Borch's Sporting Goods on East College Drive in Marshall. A car was reportedly stolen from Worthington, Minnesota, driven up to Borch's, and then crashed into the front entrance. They did get away with an undetermined number of guns. Now, by the time we arrived, the scene had been pretty well cleared up. Located just a block away from the campus of Southwest Minnesota State University, this is keeping many people on edge in the community. Marshall Police Chief Robbie Ant called Wednesday's break-in a crime in progress. He said authorities don't have any leads as of right now, but they are assuming that there was more than one person in on the theft, and they weren't in the store for an extended period of time. Reporting at Marshall Borch's, Josh Spreiter, KSSU NewsCenter. If you know any leads on the case, please contact the Marshall Police Department.
Keeping Halloween fun this year will mean taking additional safety steps when it comes to costumes and decorations. According to consumer safety experts, parents should be mindful of costumes they choose for their children.
Children should always be accompanied by adults, and you don't want a child walking around with ill-fitting costumes like big baggy pants and billowy sleeves, because
Experts also encourage flame-resistant materials and masks that do not interfere with visibility.
Well, it obviously is Halloween, so we want to get a check at that Halloween forecast. We're going to throw it over to Claire Schweer in the Weather Center. Claire?
Thanks, Josh. We are going to have some great weather for Halloween. There was predictions of some rain and snow in the forecast, but, whoops, no more. And we can see in my, woo! Looks like we got some mysterious guests down here today. Anyways, this picture right here was taken by an SMSU student, Heather Bicey. She did some pumpkin carving, and I got a hold of these pictures. Great job, Heather. And then, of course, for all of you dog lovers like myself, this is a picture of my dog. He's going as Buzz Lightyear, so I know people like to dress their pets up. Anyways, I will have more information on what you can expect tonight and what you can expect for the weekend. Otherwise, Leah, back to you.
All right, thanks, Claire. If colored contact lenses are a part of your costume tonight, you may want to reconsider. The FDA and Homeland Security both warn about the dangers of decorative contact lenses close to the eye. They advise consumers to stay away from novelty contact lenses altogether. The danger in the contacts lie in where they can be purchased. Consumers order them online or pick them up in novelty shops, which usually import the lenses illegally. The novelty lenses are therefore not FDA approved and they are unsafe. Federal authorities are taking measures to seize the illegal lenses. The poor fit of the contacts may cause allergic reactions, scratching of the cornea, infection, and potentially blindness. If you purchase colored contact lenses, it is best to leave them at home tonight, or your Halloween may be scarier than you bargained for. A Fargo, North Dakota woman is taking matters into her own hands when it comes to childhood obesity. The woman, who is only being identified as Cheryl, says she gives trick-or-treaters that are in her eyes modelly obese a letter, while other children in costumes who are appropriate size will receive candy. The woman said that her mission is to send a message to parents. She feels it's irresponsible of the parent to send kids out on Halloween for free candy, just because everyone else is doing it.
Now, in honor of Halloween today, I went in search of Pumpkin Town, USA. Come along on my journey across the country. We begin our journey in Pumpkin, Texas, where this year pumpkin patches are reaping the benefits of good weather, both big and small. From there, we move northeast to Pumpkin Bend, Arkansas, where one of the most classic fall activities begins with a hayride and ends with the pick of a pumpkin in the patch. In South Carolina, we find Pumpkin Town. This unique name comes from the pumpkins that grow wild and in large numbers in the valley. We move north to a little town near the Big Apple, Pumpkin Hollow. There is never an admission charge to pick your own pumpkin, visit with farm animals, and enjoy the fresh air and fall colors on a hayride around the patch. Moving close to home, we find ourselves in Pumpkin Center, South Dakota. The origin of the name Pumpkin Center has been lost in the mist of time. However, it was a popular wayside stop during the westward expansion of transportation. Now, no pumpkin town in Minnesota, but you don't have to go far to find that perfect pumpkin. Whether it be at the local supermarket or at the nearest pumpkin patch, the pumpkins are all around us. Reporting at Marshall Walmart, Josh Spreiter, KSSU News Center.
A Minneapolis man accused of striking 2 U.S. Army recruiters with his SUV, then dragging them nearly 3/4 of a mile, is facing more serious charges. Enrique Odares Taylor is now charged with 1 count of each first and second degree assault in the September 20th incident. Taylor initially was charged with criminal vehicular operation. He is accused of dragging Travis Torgensen underneath his Jeep after accidentally hitting him and his colleague Michael Stroud, as the two made their way back from lunch to the recruiting office in Roseville.
A grand jury has found St. Paul police were justified in using deadly force in the fatal shooting of a man who tried to rob a grocery store last December. The Ramsey County grand jury declined to indict police in the death of 20-year-old Melvin Fletcher Jr. Fletcher tried to rob a Kowalski's Market in St. Paul on the morning of December 17th. According to police, Fletcher was shot after a foot chase. A St. Paul Police Department spokesman said the incident will be placed under administrative review to make sure department practices were followed correctly.
With the month of October coming to a close, students at SMSU have a lot to look forward to coming this November. In addition to a much-needed Thanksgiving break, students will be able to register for spring classes. This year, registration is set for Thursday, November 7th. However, before students can hop on their computers and start adding classes, they will need to meet with their academic advisor prior to. Thus, Advising Day will be held Wednesday, November 6th. For information on where to meet and how to schedule appointments, students should visit the SMSU Today page and check their school email.
We're now joined with Little Red Riding Hood in the Weather Center. Now, before you go off to Grandma's house, what is our Halloween forecast looking like?
Well, it's not going to be as snowy and wet and cold as we thought it was going to be. It's actually going to be pretty nice out. However, you should still dress for the weather. So let's look at the picture. This was taken outside of the school. You can see the changing leaves, and it's just a little cloudy out, but not too bad. Honestly, what's missing from this picture is some jack-o'-lanterns. So let's take a look at our forecast for today. We have a high of 48 degrees and a low of 35. That is a little below average, as the average is around in the 50s for the high. The record high is around 70, or was 77. That was in 1990. That would have been an amazing day to go trick-or-treating. This is just a look at today's forecast. Mara is throwing his baseballs again. We are experiencing a cold front more up here, but it's a little warmer down south. It should be decent temperatures. And now for the travel weather for my way to Grandma's house. It is a little rainy in this area in the eastern part, but thankfully we have nothing coming for southwestern Minnesota. It'll be a great weekend. And this is just a look at the Doppler radar. Once again, we are experiencing a low pressure system down here. There is nothing in the southwestern Minnesota area. So enjoy the weekend, folks. We're going to take a look now at your 4-day weather forecast. For Halloween today, it is a high of 48 with a low of 35. Beautiful. Not as warm as we want it, but still not as cold as we were expecting. Friday, we will be experiencing the rain that was predicted with a high of 31 and a low of 34. And for Saturday and Sunday, it will be partially cloudy with the 50s in our range. And that is a look at your local weather forecast. I am Claire Schweer at the KSSU Weather Center. Josh and Leah, back to you guys.
Thank you, Little Red Riding Hood. Now off to Grandma's house you go.
Coming up in sports, Ryan Bartz takes us to the World Series along with some SMSU updates.
We'll be right back.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That changed my life.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard.
We're soldiers, always ready to protect our country. But we've also got communities. Family, friends, neighbors who count on us. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life. Somebody from my hometown.
See what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
When I was 16, I was in a bad car accident, and the doctors told me I would never stand again. Somehow, I knew I would. Progress has been slow, but family, friends, and strangers all started to pray for me.
Whether you need support in a tragedy or just to make it through a bad day, prayer can make a difference. America, let's come together by believing with each other.
For someone to come alongside you and say, I'm going to believe with you, it means a lot.
Welcome back. The Boston Red Sox and the St. Louis Cardinals met for Game 6 of the World Series, and this was definitely the one to watch. Let's go to the highlights starting at the bottom of the first with Dustin Pedroia with a drive to left. It's high and far enough out in the open, but a foul with no score, with either team no scoring as well. Going right there, John Lakey gets John Jay to strike him out with still no score for either team. But in the bottom of the third, bases are loaded, and Shane Victorio drove it high off the field with Jacoby Hellsbury, David Ortiz, and Johnny Gomes heading for home with Boston leading 3-0. And also scoring for the Red Sox in the bottom of the fourth, Steven Drew with a solo shot to right field for a home run. Still score is up 4-0. Also, Mike Napoli picks up an RBI with a 2-out single to score. Ellsbury, another home run, 5-0 as well. And well, that does it for the Boston Red Sox versus the St. Louis Cardinals game, as the Boston Red Sox hold it strong for a 6-1 win against the Cardinals. Now, this also marks the first time in 95 years for the Red Sox to win the World Series at Fenway Park. And just look at them celebrating right there and then. Meanwhile, David Ortiz earned him the series MVP award. And for all you baseball lovers out there, this is the end of baseball season until a brand new season kicks off in the spring. Although the SMSU soccer team took a tie to Minnesota State Mankato this Sunday, they have a lot to look forward to, and some good news as well. This week, true freshman goalkeeper Brianna Dakes was named the NSIC's Goalkeeper of the Week, thanks to her outstanding performance this weekend playing against Concordia St. Paul last Saturday and number 2 Mankato. Now, this is her second time being Goalkeeper of the Week, which led her to 7th and 8th shutouts this weekend. Meanwhile, the team is moving on up to number 19 in this week's National Soccer Coaches Association of America's Top 25 polls and have now stayed in the poll for the last 5 weeks. On top of that, they have now moved up to number 2 in this week's NCAA Division II Central Region rankings, as they are now one of 6 NSIC schools to appear in the national rankings. Now, before you go out and celebrate Halloween, the team has their last regular home game today as they faced off against Wayne State at 3 p.m. at the Schwann Regional Event Center. Well, the Minnesota Vikings players Toby Gerhardt and Josh Robinson were in Sioux Falls last Tuesday to pay a visit for one lucky football team. Gerhardt and Robinson, along with Vikings cheerleaders and team mascot, surprised the Sioux Falls Lincoln High football team at the Sanford Fieldhouse to announce they were the winners of a concussion awareness competition. Now, Gerhardt told KDLT that they came to talk to the team members about the little things that can prevent concussions to prevent long-term health effects. The team has been using an app to make sure all the athletes were safe on the sidelines. And as an added bonus, the Lincoln football team won a 24-person suite to the Vikings versus Philadelphia Eagles game on Sunday, December 15th. And finally in sports, the Southwest Minnesota State football team is getting ready for their final home game of the season. SMSU will enter the game tied for 6th in the latest NSIC conference standings, while Winona State is also tied for 4th in the conference. This game alone will also be the last hurrah for 15 of its senior team members as they play their final home game at the Schwann Regional Event Center. So Mustang fans, be there this Saturday for the final home game of the 2013 season. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. Now that was a look at your KSSU Sports. I'm Ryan Bartz. We'll be right back.
To be a winning team, you have to work like a winning team.
My team depends on me.
And my team is 50,000 strong. Looks like a lot of work's going into this.
This is what it feels like to be part of a team.
A winning team.
The Action Team.
Get in on the action at actionteam.org. Are you in?
Oh, it looks like today is all over. Wasn't it fun today?
It was very fun today.
Well, now that I have my ball back, thank you for joining us today on our special Halloween broadcast. Remember, you can tune into KSSU TV and radio at any time for all of your SMSU updates.
For all the trick-or-treaters and college students going out tonight, be safe and have a happy Halloween.